Hi everybody, this is Spidey-Stash episode 2, and my name is Bruce Wechtenheiser. I've been collecting Spider-Man memorabilia and comic books for over 50 years, and about 4 months ago, Brad Douglas, the founder of the Spider-Man Crawl Space website, contacted me, and he did a video interview of me and my items here in my home. And I had so much fun talking with Brad that day, and I've had so many contacts with other media outlets in the last few months that it's been amazing to get my stories of my deep connection to the character and all the cool things that I've been able to experience with my collection over the years out there to people. And I had so much fun with Brad that I volunteered to do an article for the website here about my Spidey stash. So this is episode 2, and we're going to talk about mail-away items. Items that you could only get if you mailed your money in and used the forms that you found in the comic books. So let's get started here. The first one I'm going to talk about was a mystery item. You can see, can you guess what's in the mysterious mailing tube? Back in 1965, Marvel was putting out some of these ads month by month in the comics and trying to be mysterious about it, trying to build some excitement before they just laid it out there for the fans to go ahead and buy this item. So when they did lay it out there, it was awesome. It was the Spider-Man 6-foot-tall Steve Ditko artwork poster with your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man written at the bottom. Incredible. Incredible poster. It's printed on heavier stock paper than we're used to, and it's 6-foot-tall, living color. And what's kind of interesting, if you look at the ad here, it said that we have dozens of other life-size pinups in preparation right now. Well, none of them ever made it to production. Only the Spider-Man. Would have been cool to see some of the other ones. And here's mine in my collection at my home. I was finally blessed to get one this past summer. And a friend of mine built the frame, put the poster in the frame to protect it. And you can't just walk into Michael's and ask for a 6-foot-tall frame. So I'm very thankful to have it. It's definitely taken my collection to the next level, at least in my opinion. And it's very meaningful to me because I live here in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, which is also the hometown of Steve Ditko. And I've lived here my whole life, so that's another cool connection. Not only have I been a Spidey fan my whole life, but living here in Steve Ditko's hometown, it's awesome. So it's great to have that in my collection. And they advertised this for about 2 years in the comics. 1965, you'd see it in certain ads pop up. $1.99. $1.99. Not too bad for a 6-foot-tall poster. Plus 15 cents for postage and handling. Let's not forget that part. So it was pumped out in the comics for a couple of years until it was sold out. Great, great item. Steve Ditko. Also, another Steve Ditko item came out in 1965, very popular, the first ever Spider-Man t-shirt. It was so popular, it sold so many units for those few years that it was available. You could see at the bottom of the screen, if you look closely enough, at the bottom of the web, I should say, there was a copyright date on some of the t-shirts, and then it was so popular that there's some that were reprinted without the copyright date. So there's a couple different variations out there for you completists, collectors, and they advertised it heavily in the comic books for a few years. And you can see at the bottom the Green Goblin's promoting the Merry Marvel Marching Society fan club. And I'm not going to get into all the fan club kits that you could get by being a member. I'm just dealing with the items that you could order directly from the comics. And some of them were fan club items, but you could order them directly through the comics and not be a member. In addition to Spider-Man, they had all the other wonderful characters, as you see in the top of the picture here on t-shirts. They kept adding characters, and they came out with some sweatshirts, which were kind of cool, and very popular items, sold out many times. So popular that in the late 1960s into the early 1970s, the Roach Company, Roach Designs, they dedicated a Spider-Man iron-on for your t-shirt. So you just bought the iron-on and you got whatever color t-shirt you wanted to get and you ironed it right on there. And they were large. They were large enough to fit and on a large area of the front of a t-shirt. But there's Spider-Man, there's a Captain America up in the top right-hand corner a little bit, and the Hulk down there. Roach Studios. They advertised in a couple different locations, and they were offering some day-glow colors. You can see different colors behind the logo, on the spider web itself, and here's one in the package. I'm not sure if this was a Roach Designs, but it's still in the package in my collection. And you can see behind the Spider-Man logo is like some golden rays shooting out, and on the web he's standing on, it's kind of like a rainbow color, different colors. And on the back, the instructions, what to do, how much time, there's your iron, everything you need to know about ironing that on your t-shirt. Here's one out of a package, and you can see yet another variety there with the blue shadowing underneath the logo and multicolored web again. This one with the words "The Amazing" at the top and different colors, I obtained from a collector who said he got this at a carnival. Now, I'm not sure if it was like an amusement park or boardwalk or some kind of local carnival, but he had to win a game, whether it was throwing darts or knocking bottles off a table, and he got this as a prize. He also got a Captain America. Well, when I flipped this one over, it's got some really vibrant colors there, and most of the other ones that you buy, when you flip it over, you can't really see the color. There's still like a film covering it, and when you iron it on your shirt and peel off the paper, then you see the colors. But this one is very colorful, and you can see it's a little bit larger even than the one that I have that's still in the package. The image is just a little bit larger. You can see that the web's lower, and it has the extra logo at the top, so just a little bit of a difference. So popular that in the year 2000, the Graffiti Company got the rights to produce some of the Marvel shirts, reproduce some of the classic shirts from the 1960s. And there's the Spider-Man. You can see that the logo is in black now, the Amazing Spider-Man, compared to the light blue that it used to be on the original. So they made it clear that it was not the original. They were good about that. They put their own logo, Graffiti Designs, Marvel Comics, copyright 2000. So you knew that you didn't have an original if you tried to resell this or trade it. Okay, but be careful out there, because there have been rumors of counterfeit shirts, and these shirts are very expensive. You know, collectors are paying a lot of money for the original Marvel shirts, whether they're in good condition, bad condition. Look for the Allison tag. If you read my article that goes along with this video, you'll hear about the Allison tag. That's the company that made the original shirts in the 1960s. Also, all of a sudden, you know, I told you that the Merry Marvel Marching Society was already in full gear. In around 1966, this weird, strange superheroes club came about. And they had a membership, and you get a membership card and things like that. But you could buy these 8 posters for only $1. And it looks like Steve Ditko's Spider-Man is amongst them. Now, these are smaller posters. You can see it's only 12 by 16, so it's not a full-size poster. But it wasn't Steve Ditko. It wasn't. And in this other ad, you can see it's looking slightly different from what you saw in that last ad. And this is what they look like. Sometimes they were printed all on one sheet, and you were supposed to then use the perforation between the posters to separate them, and you can put them on your wall or in a frame. And you can see that's not quite Steve Ditko. And some people are confused. They think that's Steve Ditko art there. And there was even a larger size of that same Spider-Man pose. It wasn't the 6 foot, but it was closer to an actual 36-inch tall poster, maybe even taller than that, of this image. Only of this one, not of the other ones. I think they did a Hulk as well, but not the other characters. And this is what it looks like a little bit closer up. And you can see there's a lot of differences. It's not the Steve Ditko poster. And in fact, it was Marie Severin, and she was a wonderful artist for Marvel, and she did a wonderful job with that poster. But there are some distinct features of it, and one of them is you could see Spider-Man's lips and chin and a little bit of his cheek, more so than you could ever see that. You never saw that with Steve Ditko or other artists. So some people like that look, some people don't, but that was all Marie Severin there. Here's the posters when they came in a package. It was just a plastic bag with a cardboard header at the top, all for $1. You got all 8 of them. There's the front of the bag, flip it over, the same artwork on the header card, and there's the back of the bag with Captain America's image showing through there. And then in 1968, yes, we got some inflatable pillows. Marvel's swinging inflatable plastic pillows. Probably not too comfortable or functional, but they look cool. And there's Steve Ditko, a panel straight out of a comic book. Spider-Man's watching a bad guy walk down an alley, or just a guy dressed in a hat and suit. And Thor, it has more of an action look to it. Good old Thor. But these are cool. I'd see them in the ads. I just started buying comic books in 1969. I was just turned 5 years old, so too young to send away for things, but I saw them, always wanted them, and finally as an adult I got my hands on one, and there it is in my collection. Steve Ditko artwork. On the back you can see the valve in the lower left-hand corner. That's where you would inflate the pillow, and you can sleep on it, or you can hang it up, or do whatever you wanted to do with the pillow. Later, 1969, a Marvel Mania club started up. Marvel Mania was the first independent club that Marvel allowed to take the reins. They took over the Merry Marvel Marching Society, kind of brought it in and renamed it Marvel Mania, and they started offering these posters. Very beautiful. Look at that John Romita on the left with Green Goblin and Doc Ock, and they were only $1.50 for 3-foot-high, full-size posters. Now, there's the Spider-Man one in my collection. It's not in the greatest shape. It has some torn corners and things like that, but I'm glad that I have it. And again, there's 2 different copyrights. If you look at the bottom of the posters, check them out. Spider-Man has 2 different copyrights. And the mystery thickens a little bit here. The original item was supposed to be done by Jack Kirby, and he was licensed, or he was, contracted to do the poster, and they produced some of them, but very limited amount. They switched over to Romita because he was doing the comic book at the time, and it was more natural. Plus, I don't ever remember Spidey going up against the Sentinels, and as wonderful an artist as Jack Kirby is, he's the king, King Kirby, he never could quite get Spider-Man right. If you see the web up here in the top right-hand corner, it looks like it's coming out of the back of Spidey's hand a little bit, so Jack just never quite gelled with the Spider-Man character. But there he is looking at his poster, the king, Jack Kirby. Much respect, great creator of comics. Later, Marvel Mania offered these black and white posters by Jim Steranko, and there's Spider-Man with the Vulture in the background, but I'm not sure if these ever got mailed out to anybody. And unfortunately, Marvel Mania management was in the habit of taking money and not sending things out. They got in trouble, they weren't paying the artists, and they went out of business. But there's the image up close. It did make it onto the back of Foom magazine #1. Steranko was in charge of a lot of the things that go along with the Foom fan club that started up in the 1970s for Marvel. So it finally did make it onto something. And here's our last item of the day, people. This episode, it's the Spider-Man medallion coin. Medallion. And it was produced by Hallmark. Not the Hallmark greeting card people, no. It was the Hallmark, what would they call? Hallmark minting service. The Hallmark minting service. And you can get bronze, silver, or gold-plated. They're more expensive. And you can get them in a variety of ways, with a lucite holder, on a keychain, on a necklace. They had the Hulk and the Conan available as well. And you could get them in a bolo tie, a money clip, 2 different size belt buckles. They had all kind of varieties for these things. But this was one of my first items that I mailed away for. Beautiful John Romita artwork, and I really loved it when I got it. And there's mine. I flipped it. I took it outside and started flipping it as a 9-year-old. It got chipped up a little bit when it hit the cement on the sidewalks, but you can see the beautiful artwork. Wonderful. And it's a very popular item. And there is proof that I'm a pack rat. There's my original bag that it came in. It came in that plastic bag. I still have the bag that it came in. And there's the coin. On the back of the coin, on the back of the medallion, they made 2 mistakes. They shortened the great responsibility quote that was in the last panel of Amazing Fantasy 15, and they put the wrong year down for Spider-Man's first story. Who was the proofreader for this coin? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and go read the article where I have a few more facts, and contact me if you have any questions, thoughts, or anything you want to talk to me about. God bless and take care.